My name is Rhapsody, his name is sneakyteak, and welcome back to the ladder stream for another week with Rector Flicker and Covenant rank 5. How's it going, bud? That well!
I don't know how to explain how many strange backflips my brain just did. I heard you saying Rector Flicker, and I wanted to say Rector Fleek, and then I just wanted to say hello. Have you ever been sitting somewhere and somebody walks up, you haven't seen them in a long time, and they greet you, and you can't figure out how to say hi?
100% yes.
That was me just there. That was the experience that I just had.
Yeah, I could not empathize with that more. I feel like in very, very many conversations, I'm off guard, I'm off balance, and kind of like suddenly trying to find, wait, hang on, that's not how that was supposed to go. You're supposed to say, hello, how are you? And I say, good, thanks.
Exactly. You've already got the whole script in your head, and then somebody goes off script.
But
and
then
the whole world.
Then this person said, what's up? And I said, good, thanks. And now I have to go into exile, Teak.
Have a good flight, and you too, you say to the attendant, you know, have a great meal.
I did that legitimately a couple times during my birthday stream of people saying like, happy birthday, Raps. Happy birthday, thanks.
Happy birthday. You just make it a bit. You just got to make it a bit.
That's exactly what I ended up resolving to do, right? Just respond to everyone unapologetically with good thanks in yourself in other situations, but happy birthday to you as well, because then it covers for all of the mistakes I make.
You know, I think there's a popular misconception that streamers and content creators are like somehow not awkward at all, or they're perfectly self-confident, but the truth is you just become more comfortable with awkwardness.
Mm-hmm.
I love crushing demise.
Oh yeah. I have had the phenomenon of people who've watched intermittently who haven't necessarily like hung around for a part of a discussion where I've talked about like abject anxiety, who've assumed that I'm much more confident because kind of like my persona in my own space when I am comfortable can be quite confident, but I'm a social wreck. And so many streamers are is the thing. Like many of us have bonded over anxiety. I know that like in the Wholesomeverse Live, not just the Wholesomeverse Live, but the Wholesomeverse proper, there are a lot of very, very similarly anxious folks.
That's just like a human thing, I think, right?
Hell yes. That sure says Flicker's Liquor, doesn't it?
Flicker's Liquor is very strong. There is our energy, and it makes the dregs into turbos.
They become energy pumps. I am a little saddened that we've got the Foregone Powers right now instead of the Frozen Lancers, because if energy is so easy for us to generate and utilize,
that's true.
These cost cards. So do the offering tokens, in fact. We have a lot of card cost in this deck.
We have a lot of discard. Yeah. There's a consideration here that Rules of Containment might be a better start with such a cheap deck. Honestly. Flicker's Liquor is potentially so abusable, but like this deck is free. You're definitely right. If we're looking at the actual ingredients that we've been given, Rules of Containment probably has a bigger impact on the first 3 rings, at least.
Oh, wow. Because I'm thinking also from the other direction is what ultimately do we work into the deck that we are paying for with Flicker's Liquor, right? Like, it's not like these two clans have super expensive cards. There's the molten something, the 3 costs that the Melting Remnant have. And then Stygian has a couple expensive spells.
Wait, what card are you talking about?
The melting reinforce. It dazes enemies and deals 25 damage to a damaged enemy.
Oh, Molten Encasement.
Yeah,
Melting Encasement. Yeah. Is that a 3 cost now?
It's 3 cost, yes.
But it's been changed so many times. It's now 3 cost. The enemy has to be damaged. It deals like 50 damage, and it dazes them for 3 turns now or something.
25, 3 turns worth of daze, but it's attuned now.
It's attuned. Wow. That card has been changed a lot.
Yeah, it really has been kicked up and down. I think it is the Rules of Containment for exactly the reasons you outlined.
I like it.
I would not be sad to see Reform plus damage. Hello. We have no support for Burn Bright in the base deck right now. We don't even have the ability to reform them yet, but these 2 drafts coming back constantly with Dark Calling, that feels like a start.
I like Dark Calling, and it's a cool hybrid now that it's always 2. The fact that it starts at 2, it's like it's coming in hot.
Yeah, we could
What
easily
about the
hybridize.
weird? So here's a question for you as we dive in.
Sure.
What do you think? How can I phrase this in a way to best set you up? Reform is an effect that happens like a resolve effect at the end of your turn and respects order across lanes top to bottom like everything else. How does this impact your Rector Flicker placement? Does it?
Oh, right, because of the possibility of dazed on the top floor and wanting units to die on the top floor, so this resolves at the bottom, you mean?
There's that, and there's like wanting to be able to reform units right away, so you want them to die above Rector Flicker, but then Rector Flicker themselves on reform is a little weaker, so you kind of... This is a tension that I felt with this unit is really what I'm getting at, and I was curious if you had the same experience.
I definitely have.
I want it to be up top to live, but I want it to be on bottom to reform right away.
Yeah, I've definitely had that exact same experience very many times with this character. It honestly... has been like a large amount of the reason that Rector Flicker didn't really gel with me for a really long period of time, and I ended up relying, I think, overly on the Burn Bright Rector Flicker early on.
Right.
And that was as I was doing all of my initial climbs, and I kind of did that because anytime I wanted drafts to die on the top floor, I needed Rector Flicker on a bottom floor, and then I needed some defense for it as well, and it felt like there was so many moving pieces to set up in order to accomplish that effectively that I could just accomplish something else way easier.
Yeah, it's certainly more linear. I think that this is a very tricky unit, but very strong, very techy. I like it. I like it a lot. I really like the Reform Rector Flicker.
I'm really excited to have the chance to play more with it because it feels like I kind of just replaced it with Little Fade in my mind. Like,
Little Fade
quickly.
is so dope.
Little Fade's so good.
You can't feel bad about going in with the Little Fade. That's for sure.
We don't get another turn after this, so what, we're dealing 40, 60 damage to the frontliner, and then the 60, okay, it might be fine. And we were fine the entire time.
Never not fine. Backline solved with Rules of Containment. Rules of Containment sung there.
It really did. Is there ever a reason just to take an Entombed Explosive to chump block on that floor?
So Entombed Explosive. It plays nicely with Crushing Demise, kind of, because you kill the frontliner, and then it also kills more things behind it, right? Well, no, it's killing a random, so it gets a little weird. I do want to make sure that we're thinking about Crushing Demise just because it's such a powerful card. Entombed Explosive, though, also then starts consuming our reforms, so it depends on how tightly we're trying to reform drafts. And if we're really leaning in on drafts, there's Wicklash.
So the problem that I end up running into when I'm like, okay, I've got a Rector Flicker, it reforms 2 units, want both of them to be drafts, I got drafts in the base deck, hell yeah, let's go, is they are not banner units. So unless the deck gets real thin, it's maybe turn 4 before I'm getting one of them back, sometimes turn 5 until I'm getting like one of them back, and it's really, really late. The Wicklash would give us the ability to capitalize on them more and also use the Dregs as like legitimate damage early on.
I kind of like this Wicklash. You don't need them to be reformed every turn, right? You just want to have, you don't want to have 10 units in the reform pool.
I didn't ask there because we have no cards in the deck that have spell damage related, and we have a very large like card crunch.
1000% agree.
I think, I mean, like, honestly, there are very few cards in this deck that I really want to upgrade at this point, so I think we just go for the Merchant of Steel, try and find something we want to upgrade.
I feel really good about having strong units, too, with Melting Remnant. I mean, Melting Remnant, you're going to get the maximum out of that unit, right?
Oh, whoa.
Do you want a multi-hit Paraffin Enforcer?
I do want a multi-hit Paraffin Enforcer. Now I have to figure out how to justify it, though, because, like, those drafts will not stay alive for long.
For now.
For now, sure. But they lose their rage when they get reformed anyway. And if our plan is to reform them consistently, we have a bit of difficulty doing that.
So this is one of my favorite things about Melting Remnant, is that it really rewards breaking out of tunnel vision. It's one of the reasons I think it's one of the hardest classes ever, is that it rewards being able to look at a deck and see it as like kind of this shifting shape. And so you can take advantage of reform without necessarily reforming everything every single turn. And I think Paraffin Enforcer set up with multi-strike, reforming the drafts enough times to where they get, 3 or 4 burnout in the longer fights, and then stacking them up and putting burnout extension on them is a very real strategy. And they don't need to have 1,000 rage to take advantage of that. Is this Seraph the Chase, though? Or is that Seraph the Temperate?
Temperate.
That's Temperate again?
Yeah.
I like this
Chase,
Paraffin, man.
I like
think
it
we
as
can
well.
do it.
I think the problem I have with it is finding the support for it early, because we've got one more fight and then we no longer see any common cards, and the common subset is really where you find your burnout extension for these characters. I mean, and relics as well with the combustible wax or some such.
Well, we can find another unit too. We could theoretically find another Lady of the Reformed. Theoretically.
That is true. We could also just give the Paraffin Enforcer plus 25 so it can sit in the front line in front of them.
So here's something else that it does. What if that unit had burnout? What if the Paraffin Enforcer has burnout? Do they apply rage to themselves?
They do. That's what Wicklash gives me the ability to do.
Yeah, so then the fact that they're dying also plays nicely with our reform champ.
That's true as well.
Because they're fairly thin, right? Like this unit will probably die at some point, and we might be okay with that.
Right, so instead of it providing the scaling, what it's really doing is, or rather, like, instead of it providing the entire fight scaling, the entire fight scaling is provided by the Rectiflicker reviving them, and then they have their single couple turns in a row giant scaling.
Yeah.
Okay. Does that push us in a direction for either of these, or a weight?
I feel like this Battle Stone is acceptable, at least. It might be exactly the kind of stats that we really benefit from.
Is damage really going to be a problem for us on that floor? Is 10 more damage worth the 15 extra HP we miss out on?
Oh, you just want to go full in on health.
Yeah.
So that they can frontline better? Okay, I like that. Large Stone is the one thing that I would probably prefer even more, but I don't think we re-roll to hope for Large Stone here, right?
Are we going to the Merchant of Magic in the next area ever? Because we might just be able to hold it.
Wait.
Yeah.
Okay, let's do that.
We're not threatened in the next area, so yeah. You gotta love this. Thank you, Rules of Containment, for winning this fight for us.
It's so strong. Rules of Containment and Jackstrips frequently say win the first 2 trials.
Yeah.
And then they hit you with plus 10 armor. And once again, we get to talk about the 1,000% increase in health. Just so crazy. It's totally wild how much health that is. What are we going to do with all this discard? Whoa.
It's so much. It's really overwhelming.
Like, how do I reach these?
Hey, got the Paraffin Enforcer back. It's got Burnout 1. I'll pop you on the top floor so you die again. Like nothing else. Hey, Paraffin Enforcer. Right. Draft. Got him. Drag behind as well.
Just all of it.
You don't need to live for long if you hit hard enough.
That's right.
Well, that's...
I love the molded here.
I mean, there is a consideration that we will never find Molten Encasement ever again, and we could find Wicked Blaze for another remolded, but I think it's just take the molded, move on.
Yeah. Because there is another source of smoke. You don't need the Molten Encasement to get stealth.
Do we want a Helical Crystallis? Carrying damage against frontliners right now is a bit hard for us. Memento Mori and the Stygian, what is it? It's the deal damage 3 times equal to the
Ancient Synergy.
Ancient Synergy, yeah. Those are our 2 big options at this point. Past this point, rather. You
know why I think I like this?
Why?
What are we doing with our energy?
Yeah, that's a good point. Well made.
It's like, I might just want this card so that we can feel like we're playing something. Berg.
Well now, what do we do here?
I think I'm beginning to really reinforce a theme about my style in Monster Train, which is if big is good, And to be honest, it's not even just kind of a branded meme. Big units in this game really do pay off because something priority unit and enhancement system, something.
Yeah, it really doesn't need that much investment for it to be a unit worth its own weight at that point.
Yeah. This run's gonna take pips, dog.
Oh my god.
This run really wants pips. You want to multi-strike the Sludge, or do you want to multi-strike the Paraffin Enforcer?
I don't know. Are we... do these decks run at loggerheads? Do we need to choose?
I mean, if we're choosing for endgame, and if we're choosing for endgame, it's Sludge.
I don't disagree.
That's my quick read, especially without Seraph the Chase.
So
That's a really good point, though. I like that intuition. Are we going to build 2 decks that fight each other instead of fighting the enemy?
Yeah.
That's a really good question.
I find, like, the majority of the time when that happens to me, it's in the Melting Remnant. It's usually with Melting Remnant as my lead as well.
But I think that's partly because Melting Remnant has a lot of early game versus late game instead of early game into late game. Right? And we experienced that with the run where we had secondary Melting Remnant, where we took a unit to make a ton of money, made like 600 or 700 gold off of them, and then sold them. And that was perfect. That's all we needed out of that unit, right? And so this might be like, we aren't getting money units this run, so we need to be a little bit more choosy. And we can probably kit out this big sludge right now. Reform big sludge is really strong, dog. We want to multi-strike that big sludge, I think.
But what if we don't reform it?
No, we're reforming everything else. We're constantly letting our own units die on that row as chump.
Oh.
To increase the harvest even further.
Oh, okay. So the Paraffin Enforcer is a second floor that sometimes does something, but it's mostly trash for us right now.
For now, they can be together, and that's just a ton of harvest. But in the long run, we might just be throwing dregs and drafts out in front of this big sludge. And if we take pips, we can have both of them and then still have other units on that row. And honestly, I think that's where we're headed.
Teak, is there ever a world where we give this multi-strike, we re-roll looking for the possibility of Quick or Large Stone both to find a different deck at this point, but Quick gives us the ability to go Hellvent, Quick, multi-strike, dupe. It means they'll never kill a frontliner by themselves, so we would need spell support for killing frontliners until they end up having some harvest, but then they literally just kill every floor by themselves.
Yeah, I really like that, and I really do want Large Stone on one of these units, potentially. It's a little harder now with both of them.
Oh, okay.
Big!
Okay.
So who's it going to be?
Well, it's the sludge, but we don't dupe it anymore, right? It could be Paraffin Enforcer and set up the drafts by a floor by themselves a little bit better, but it seems to me that the sludge really, really, really wants to have some extra HP.
You can do a backliner sludge. It's weird to have a 3-pip unit as a backline, but you can do this. But then, like, we'll need an actual tank in front of it for the boss, right?
The possibility, I guess, exists that we end up hybridizing in the Dark Forge to a the collection Rectiflicker, the Harvest Rectiflicker.
And we tank with it? Ooh, I like that. That is pretty sweet.
Okay, so that doesn't... Well, I mean, we still can go Large Stone on the big sludge and still be open to that because we would just take a capacity gem.
And I think we should take a capacity gem. I'm increasingly sold on that.
But I want the extra capacity on that floor for the possibility of just playing a unit that dies a bunch, like a Remnant Host or some such.
Yeah.
Okay, so we go...
This is tricky. This is like actually a really hard Large Stone, isn't it? I think that the better like early and mid game play is the Paraffin. And that leaves also the sludge open to potentially like the Quick for the in game that you suggested or another multi.
So that makes this Paraffin Enforcer literally a stat stick for a while, right?
Ain't nothing wrong with a stat stick.
That's all I needed to hear.
It's a really strong stat stick.
I was thinking of it in the world where we have to utilize it in this way. I don't understand how we do otherwise. I need to remember. I don't just have to have a unit that has, you know, Slay for +20 or Harvest for +5 gold or some such. Those don't have to be my stat sticks. Sometimes it can just be anything that you stick the upgrades on.
Yeah. And it has a potential real in game, right? Like the burnout unit enhancement with it's still a real thing, at least for the mid game and maybe for the end game. I like Shiny Steward, Rail Spike, soft removal. Could help us on like ring 5 when we need just a bit more oomph.
Yeah, if we need to remove anything, or rather, sorry, if we want to reform things, we want to reform things that already had burnout. So reforming a train steward becomes really, really bad at that point. We have randomly targeted reforms, so yeah, we want fewer of them as much as we can get.
Yeah, I agree. Even with pips, like, get them out.
The rare after this could help really, really, really set where we are. Oh, what is this opener?
Pretty sweet.
Okay, hang on. Here's my pitch.
Okay.
Paraffin double draft the top floor, Rector Flicker the bottom. Rector Flicker the middle, getting both the drafts back next turn. Rector Flicker dies very quickly.
Okay.
Doing that, unless we chump block. And we can chump block all the damage here.
Yeah. We can jump block some of it with drag, or we could even put the sludge in front of it, which is not terrible.
Yeah, this... Oh, you're right, yeah, because if we play the drag this turn, it doesn't die before we get sludge with a priority draw next turn.
I like this line, man. I think this line can win. I see a bunch of different lines here, and I love that. It's one of the reasons why Melting Remnant is my favorite class. Unit placement becomes its whole game. It's just a game by itself.
It really is significantly more intensive with this character than any other. Like, what is the damage here? 141? It's okay, I guess. I mean, it's fine, you know? Casual.
Already on turn 2 up top. This falls off at C10. We can't do that anymore at C10. So we got to prepare the mind.
I'm ready for that to happen.
You ever play the Molded on this turn? No, pointless, because we only have one thing dead. I guess if we needed to clear one up, then we could, but yeah, just sludge it, foregone power it, and hit the road, Jack.
Yeah.
I guess we still could mold it on this turn so that the other drag is out here for when the
Yeah, I just want more damage on the
die.
overcharge so the big sludge can actually get a kill, because we're not getting any harvests yet.
Yeah. Although our top line is going to be clear, I think our top line wins against Talos.
We want both of those to die here. The reform pool is empty, so yeah, Rector Flicker will get both of those back for the next turn. Perfect. Yeah, I think we're already sorted. But I'm constantly checking because I know that this is the kind of deck where you play one thing wrong and then you lost.
And it just crumbles, right? You're killing it. I am watching enraptured.
Kind of you to say. There we go.
This is definitely one where styles of play start to ring out. I mean, I can already say that if you wanted this deck to be a 3-hour run, you could do that.
Oh yeah, definitely.
That's true for basically every Melting Remnant run, honestly. If you want to take the time, you can do it and get value out of it.
They're definitely the clan that functions that way. Hang on.
Do you ever Crushing Demise bot lane to put the drafts in the pool here?
Oh, no. I was going to try and get them. Wait, hang on. We have the turn of consume. No, I got 2 ones to bring back already. Effectively, I want these to reform no, wait, hang on. Right, we've got the turn of pass and then the turn comes down. Yeah, I want these to reform before the Rector Flicker puts them back up here. Wait, you're only taking 7. I've mismanaged a lot of this already. Never mind. The middle 4 is hopefully going to get the kill for us, so we don't have to worry about it.
Okay.
I will say this is very likely to fatigue my brain pretty hard.
I think we have plenty of outs here. I think we can always win this with no leak. We've got Molded in hand too. Plenty of outs. I think this is going to be easier for you to manage when the train stewards are gone.
Yeah.
And having to play around Talos hitting while outside of the train also is like another level of complexity.
Another one that I didn't necessarily want at the time. All Frost Effigy, Spike of the Stygian, and Bounty Stalker turn up.
Bro, Bounty Stalker is so good.
Really?
It's like the strongest card in the game.
Really? After it was nerfed, I moved so far away from the Bounty Stalker. I don't know if I've taken it in
Really?
100 hours plus.
Well, it was like almost definitively one of the strongest cards in the game before. I don't even think our deck is that set up to use it, but I still probably take it here on ring 3 and try. Certainly pushes us to pips. Certainly pushes us to pips.
Yeah. I want to find the Remnant Host and then move from there. Double removal, dupe. Yeah.
And we have reforming champ to help with our bounty stalker. It's good.
I really wish we had the ability to just dupe the Paraffin Enforcers and be happy about it, but without the ability to really give that much burnout, and it's not likely we find any more, so I think we just go over here for the Herzls.
I like the Herzls a lot because there's a lot of... So Melting Remnant really responds well to... Ooh.
That's good.
I think this is just Forever Flame, right? But the Pyrestone is not bad.
The Pyrestone is really good. I actually think it's the Pyrestone.
Really? You're leaning Pyre?
Yeah.
So when's our next Merchant of Steel? Oh, and we're still at cheaper costs, too. Dang, you're right. This Pyrestone is really good.
Merchant of
we
Steel,
don't have much else.
Has money next to it and a Herzl's Horde below it. The Merchant of Magic's on the other side, and we have basically no... we have a couple spells in here that could use an upgrade, but nothing that wants one really that badly.
Dude, let's do it. No, let's Pyrestone this.
Yeah.
I'm in. It's cheaper. Yeah, let's do it.
Come on, build. What?
build. What does Dark Calling 3 even look like?
It's 50 plus 15, I think, at this point. Let's double check.
Like, is there any point? Is there any value?
Yeah, 50 plus 15.
Oh, it gives the plus 15. Okay. So the reforms are even stronger. Okay, so there is a point.
Yeah.
Actually.
It's also a bigger body. It's a reasonably sized body at that point.
Oh, let's do it. Let's go all the way. Dark Calling. I'm kind of in. The fact that the upgrades are still cheaper is what really sold me on Pyrestone here, and the fact that our deck has no cost other than units. It's hard to pass that Forever Flame. I mean, that's a lot of energy for the rest of the run, but the reformed units are coming back cheap anyway.
Yeah, exactly.
So
that was actually part of the reason
okay.
that the Flicker's Liquor was something that I was happy giving up with the rules of containment instead, was because every time we reform something, it's already coming back at low cost.
We've given up 2 really boss tier energy relics and felt pretty good about it in both cases, and that's kind of cool.
There are going to be a lot of harvest on this bottom floor.
True. Go ahead and set it up.
I think we put the Rector Flicker in the front line as well.
And then like just chump with dregs or whatever.
Yeah.
The key is we need to get to that Bounty Stalker, and because we are so strong here, we want to be aggressively scaling Bounty Stalker if we can.
Okay, it's fine. Bounty Stalker can't go on that
Is Paraffin
line
row
first.
2?
Paraffin can totally be row 2. I mean, I don't know if we need a row 2 anymore, but this is fine.
Very fair. Yeah, it's too bad we don't have the space for Bounty Stalker on the bot row. Are we going to end up taking another pip? Oh my gosh.
Honestly, it's not impossible for us to take 2 pips on this one. I find, like, a lot of the time, as specifically Melting Remnant, I will end up with 2 pips. And a lot of the time, that's because I have, like, a Paraffin Enforcer or a Lady of the Reformed and a bunch of Burnout units I want on the same floor as it. Or, obviously, Harvest stacking. I think Bounty Stalker goes here and get Wicklashed.
Oh, smart. I like the Wicklash play. That's great. Nice. I didn't want to interrupt, but I also wanted to say that microing the Bounty Stalker has now become one of our jobs. If we want it to be in-game viable, and I do, I want to show off its potential power, even post-nerf.
I mean, also, High Stone Housing makes it so much better. Quick, multi-strike, and endless could all happen. Although that would be 3, like, pretty elusive...
Tier 3 upgrades, yeah.
Exactly. We'd have to be pretty lucky, but it could happen.
It's possible.
Someone wins the lottery every day. It could happen. I know. Actually, sorry, the someone wins the lottery every day. It's based on a misconception. See, Lottery Yorg, who lives in a cave and plays lottery every single moment of every single day and wins 80,000 times a second, is an outlier and should not have been counted.
Why do we always think about Lottery Yorg?
It's Spider's Yorg. It's the. Do we want to just get the shiny suit out? Like, peace?
Yes, I do.
Bye.
I'm ready to move on. It's about to get reformed, which is hilarious. Oh no, it won't, because it's not. I guess if we put burnout on it, it would reform.
Hell yeah. Oh, wowzers.
Oh boy.
Oh, well.
Oh my gosh.
Which way do you want to win, Teak?
I think this deck wants the Engulfed in Smoke. Or is it Mortal Entrapment?
Mortal Entrapment's your other one. Also, Molten Encasement is what you called this one. It's Mortal Entrapment.
Yeah, I know. I messed it up. Molten Encasement is the stealth. Mortal Entrapment is this. Yeah.
I'm so happy you made that mistake, because I make that mistake every single time, and it's why I was stuttering over it, because I was like, I know it's... There's one of them...
Molten Entrap Case. Mortal... Morton... Mordor. It's just Mordor. We're going to call this card Mordor.
Should we go to Mordor? Because I think it's either the Resin Removal or the Engulfed in Smoke. The Resin Removal provides us the ability to take a lot of trials that we typically would maybe avoid a little bit more as this character. I think Spikes is really hard for us to take right now. Engulfed in Smoke obviously is just like all of the defense that we ever need forever. Effectively means that no defensive upgrades need to go onto the big sludge.
That's the reason that I'm leaning towards Engulfed or Mortal, is that I think we're going to... the biggest trouble that I see for this deck right now, like if I'm just thinking big picture, is that we are doing a great job reforming and killing and getting strong, but we have such small health pools that we may have trouble living through the longer relentless boss fights for the last 2 rings. And so having something like Stealth or Dazed for that can really make a big difference. The problem with Engulfed in Smoke potentially is if we're playing it aggressively, it might make it harder for our units to die. We actually like our units to die, right? So there's kind of a weird tension there. This is a class of tensions. But I like the Engulfed a lot.
I think by the time that we find a good unit that we, want to give Endless or some such, right? So we have like the constant chump blocking from it. I think we can just play the Engulfed in Smoke before it and then play it out on most turns. Like as long as the frontline unit is reliably dying, I don't think that anti-synergy is a problem.
Well, and if we can get this Bounty Stalker strong enough, then we might just put it out and start winning with it. That's a possible truth. Like it's already at 34. It's not going to be long before this Bounty Stalker is a monster.
I think this is just money.
Money.
I love Cuddle Hex, and I love finding a way to put extra Cuddle Hexes into a build, like, and extra pips on a secondary floor of some such, but
this ain't it.
It's not the deck to do that in.
I agree. This is going to be units carry the deck, and that's fun. I like it. You've also been occasionally. Ooh. Quick vid. Oh.
There's Quick and there's Burnout 1 as well. So
wow.
There's the possibility. I've done this before, and I've regretted it occasionally, but there's the possibility of like a Bounty Stalker that has Quick and Burnout 1 and then just reforming it every single turn with Endless.
That's going to pay for itself. Absolutely.
It will, but like, so it doesn't become your boss damage, but it does support the big sludge if we end up doing that.
It can be your boss damage with some Burnout extension, or if we get lucky and we get Wickless recruitment.
But is that the way we want to go? Because Big Sludge getting Quick is just a large amount of HP.
Oh, Big Sludge. So I think that the Quick goes on Big Sludge here. I'm just suggesting that I also think it would be very fair.
Still?
Yeah.
Okay. I'm happy. I'm happy with that. I think especially with the extra Firestone housing, I'm more happy with that because we still have space for the Endless and the Multi-Strike.
Do we take this Heartstone on anyone before the reroll?
I don't think so. I think Paraffin Enforcer is like reaching the end of its life cycle as these two start taking off. Well.
Do you want the Paraffin Enforcer to be even more big?
Even larger, please. I mean, like, it's a good standalone unit on its own floor right now.
I like plus 10 on the Big Sludge a fair bit. No, not the large, the Strength Stone,
Gets it slays off faster and stuff like that. I find it really hard to turn down waiting for something better, but I think you're right. Yeah. We should just do this. Let's take that and then take our leave.
You don't want a large stone that Paraffin Enforcer? Look how big that one is.
I honestly, I think Paraffin Enforcer is so far from what we need now.
Do you want a large stone, a giraffe? Biggest giraffe. Honestly, we should have been probably looking for opportunity. Not a drag, a giraffe.
Oh, yeah. There was a previous opportunity to put a large stone on a draft, the one that went on the Paraffin Enforcer that I was considering for a little bit of time, but I honestly, like, I felt even at that point, we're going away from the drafts in the Paraffin Enforcer.
I think you're gonna
save the money.
So this might be a big place in which our play styles are different. But as someone who really likes this clan, like Smelting Remnant, one of the things about it that makes it so difficult but so rewarding is that things like drafts and dregs frequently have a real value all the way through the final fight. You will almost always be benefiting from chump blocking with these units, cycling them, harvesting them. It increases the cognitive space of the run by a lot. But I don't think that I see any future where I'm removing these drafts and dregs, and I really mean that. I see a future where we get rid of all the train stewards, and maybe where we get rid of the Paraffin Enforcer, even though they're a decent stat stick. But I'm keeping these 1 and 0 cost 1 pip units for the rest of the run.
You just clarified in your final sentence the reason I'm not going to give it a large stone, and that's because we are taking them for the ability to reform, not to reform them rather, but the ability to harvest them.
Yeah.
And they are 1 pip units, and that's their biggest value for us right now, being 1 pip.
Yeah. And we're on C4, so later covenants with Seraph the Temperate, you got to put some health on your chump blockers. But maybe not here. You would just even more energy.
Yeah, I don't really
now we
think
just need a Shadow Siege.
I really want to keep the money and go to another Merchant of Steel in the next area.
Yeah.
We could go for the Merchant of Magic to try and get the double smoke or something.
Oh, that's true. That's true.
But over here, we get the double removal and double removal is super good for us, obviously, not just for getting cards out of the deck, but also for getting them out of the possible reform pools. And then there are still so many things that I want to hit in this Merchant of Steel.
One thing also that I'm keeping in the back of my mind as we're kind of the stealth boss. Can we take spikes here? I think we're okay.
I think
actually this is a perfect tie into what I was going to say, which is one easy mistake to make with this particular Rector Flicker is feeling like you have infinite reform. We do not. We have 2 a turn, right? And so that's another reason why I sometimes put health on my other stat sticks, is we cannot reform both drafts and our Bounty Stalker and anything else every turn, right? We get 2. But I think we made a good choice. I think rolling the money will feel good, and I think trinkets are going to feel good soon.
Yeah, I'm already like really hyped for this Merchant of Trinkets down here. There's a Hellfence on the other side, but I don't think it's super likely we end up using that.
And Herzl's, so that's not a bad side.
What? Oh, you mean on the other side from the Merchant of Trinkets?
Yeah. If we were in a position where we were money constrained, we still get a trinket. We're getting a trinket either way on Ring 7 is what I'm saying.
I initially wanted the Paraffin Enforcer on the bottom floor and then just putting dregs constantly there as well, but now I'm thinking about the possibility the backline is going to constantly die to the rules of containment. That big sludge could get quite large here, but then how do we have the ability to support its health?
That's been such a cool combo. We can play stealth on this turn. Big Sludge Rector Flicker gives us 3 energy.
It's the Thorns damage that I'm worried about.
Yeah, that's pretty fair. With Quick and Multi, we're going to burn through that pretty quickly. And if we reform it, then we lose all the Rage stack.
Yep.
So, but maybe that's okay, because we still have to get through the Stealth boss. So we need a plan to live through the Stealth boss anyway. And that's not going to be on our bottom row.
So that means that we still set up the big sludge on the bottom?
I'm not even sure that Rector Flicker gets to go bot row, right? Because we kind of want rules of containment to kill some stuff off so that we're not taking as much spike damage. This spike damage is going to make this very heady. Very heady. Okay, well, what are our realistic options? We play Big Sludge bot row, and then how many turns does it take for them to die?
So they take 8 a turn to the enemies. They have 30, so 24 plus 1, so that's 5 turns. On the 5th turn, they die.
Which is just before the boss shows up.
Yes.
So basically, Big Sludge on bot row play here is not going to be part of our boss plan. Is that acceptable?
No.
That means Big Sludge needs to go up top, and we're sacking and reforming units in front of it, and that's how it's harvesting.
Does it have to go up top? Could it go middle?
It could go mid and just... It's still going to hit twice a turn, so it's still going to die. Like, unless we've got some other big plan for how we're going to deal with all these tanky lads.
Oh, okay. So it up top with like a draft. The draft dies this turn. The Rector Flicker on the bottom, on the middle floor reforms that, and then we start going from there, trying to use drafts to like pepper down these bottom line units with Paraffin Enforcer, and then any dregs get caught by the Big Sludge.
Yeah.
But we also feed it its own reforms using other units that we have on the side.
Exactly.
Okay.
And we don't have bad front-loaded damage as long as we're cycling things like these drafts. We can actually do fair damage to incoming units. We just have to do it on rows 1 and 2 because the quick is what we're playing against. We're playing against our own clock here, basically, which is kind of cool.
Just gonna get another unit up there that dies.
I think so.
And then save the HP on the middle floor.
Yeah, I think so. I think that's a good setup.
Yeah. I don't think it's bad, but I am worried. But,
yeah, that's pretty fair.
It's typically the case.
How can we kill Bounty Stalk? Can Bounty Stalker plus something get us to the points where we kill this Collector? Maybe a draft mid lane and a bounty.
Oh, draft is almost certainly going mid lane, right? But it does die to the Master of Light. It kills. Wait, hang on. It takes 3, and then it can hit back 2 times. So it does the 50, and then the Rector Flicker goes. So yeah, no, there's no way we're getting that Collector. This is what, 50, 30, 80 total. And then the backline would need to take more damage afterwards. So we would need 3 more units on this floor. Draft plus a unit plus another unit.
Bounty Stalker does how much?
39.
So which is more than the draft. So if you put Bounty Stalker in front of the draft, then the second hit from the draft kills the Collector.
Oh, wait. So Bounty Stalker front, draft second. Because the Bounty Stalker does less than the draft, because the draft has multi-strike.
Yeah. But the multi-strike can split here, right? 39 plus 30 is a 69, and then another 25 is 89, and the second hit from the draft. Yeah, Bounty Stalker front, draft back.
Right.
Kills Collector.
It's the Bounty Stalker has to be front. Either of the other units in any position does this.
Yeah.
May as well put in the back then. Okay. Nothing to reform. Sack 2 Shiny Stewards, or do we care about keeping our reform pool to... Well, actually, Shiny Stewards will die in a single turn because of the burnout, right?
Which is not awful. They take a lot of slots.
I think we get them in the reform pool.
Okay.
And
just put some Froused. Things have to die, that's for sure.
Ah, yes. Paraffin.
Ooh.
Welcome.
Wait. You should Crushing Demise on the bot floor first.
Sure. Oh, come on.
It's unlucky.
It's the worst
It's definitely
result.
Unlucky.
God, you're really not getting that many harvests anymore, Big Sludge. I'm sorry about it.
We'll get to him.
62. I mean, pop the Bounty Stalker on the bottom line and kill the back line.
Yeah.
I mean, the Bounty Stalker on the bottom line is already full support here. Then the draft goes top.
Yeah, I like that.
I like it. And then...
We're certainly feeling this trial, but I think we've managed it well so far.
It's
now we have to start pivoting. Go ahead.
It's the fact that it offers us a artifact, and artifacts, so many artifacts right now rocket us to success.
Are huge. Yes. I think the big thing that we have to figure out is how are we going to live through the 8 turns of stealth? We still have to figure that out.
Yes, that is the biggest problem we are going to be encountering for a while.
Stacking several units, right? Like, we can probably get by 4 turns on the first 2 rows so that they're totally out of stealth on the top, and that helps. How many units are in the... What's in our reform?
Just one shiny steward. This one's going to go back into it, so we'd get 2 shiny stewards back.
Okay.
I guess we go single drag there.
Yeah, we got to get rid of these stewards.
Yup. Okay. This one's going to have burnout, or rather, this one's going to have burnout 1 by the time the boss comes in.
Oh, we have a molded too.
Oh, get the
Stalker
back.
always Stalker because we want to scale it. I would Stalker and put it bot row even.
Very happy with that. That does mean we only have one capacity pip left. I mean, let's just get past those two because that always happens.
Are you gonna Wicklash like Bounty Stalker here? How much damage does the stealth boss do? Is it 14?
At this point, I do not recall because they get increased damage in a while.
Yeah. Okay.
I think. Okay. I'm planning around 3 like single pip units blocking here, and then this floor also just being chump blocks until the big sludge has the kill. I'm pretty sure that covers us.
Who are we Wicklashing right now?
I want both these drafts to die this turn. We've only got a single drag in the reform. No, we're getting way more things in the reform pool after this, actually. Maybe we keep one of them.
We could also, like...
We can Wicklash here. Get some scaling damage.
If we Wicklash there, it meaningfully denies us a turn of stealth, I think. I'm pretty sure the boss is doing 14.
Okay.
Pretty sure the boss is doing 14. You could Wicklash the Bounty Stalker in the back, actually, and that's not bad.
Yeah, there's no downside to that. Sure.
Yeah. I think that actually makes a difference, too. 13. Even better.
Engulfed in Smoke is 100% our play right now.
Oh, that's huge.
Love being able to counter them with our own stealth.
Play the Drake, too.
Yep.
Buy even one more turn. Or I guess the draft, right? There's no reason to play Drake here. Other than the burnout.
I mean, we do go Drake, but then we put draft on the next floor because it'll be affected there.
Okay. I think we've solved it. I think we made it.
It does looks like we made it. Come on, give me molded. Hey!
Nice. Is it bounty time? It's bounty time.
Is it?
Yeah, because we can win with this Bounty Stalker, and then that means we get even more scaling out of the Bounty Stalker. Only scale.
I'm worried that we don't win with it necessarily yet. Maybe. Hang on. Let's get that Dreg out there. Okay, that's an extra turn, and that's got burnout on it. Okay, never mind. We've very
got Porygon.
close.
And actually, maybe don't hit here because we want it to die, right? Yep. That's crazy how big of a swing you did by playing 3 cards there. From like 6 damage to 400 damage.
That's Melting Remnant for you.
Yep. Quick swings.
Why'd you have to give me something that, like, one impact in the entire deck?
We may actually be skipping this.
Oh, yeah.
We are.
100%. Yes! We found it! Oh, my God.
I'm surprised that you clicked that so quickly over the engulfed.
Yes, I definitely clicked it very, very quickly there, and I could have solicited some input. However, it would have been
so quickly
real hard to convince me that it's not a Remnant host that is 3 extinguishes relatively consistently on a big sludge.
We've
that's
seen what that can do. It's definitely strong. I'm happy with it.
Do you want the unnamed tome for any tech reasons at this point?
I mean,
that's a no.
It's like, if you have Seraph the Patient, you take it. If you're worried about Ember Drain, you take it. If you're... I don't know. I'm sure there's a couple more things that I'm missing that I should be more worried about. Do we care to have a quick Bounty Stalker?
I mean, it has Stealth, and it has Stealth 1 and Burnout 1, right? So it's... For all of the turns that it's alive, without reforming it consistently, obviously, it is effectively quick, except that it doesn't save other units on its own floor.
Right. So that might... I don't think it's that big of a deal. I'd rather have Multi. I'd rather give it some more health, too, actually, given the opportunity. Do you want it? Oh, okay. I dig that. I was going to say, we could put Burnout 1 on a draft, too, and it's not bad. So many large stones in this run, dog. Is it time to finally large stone a draft?
We're about to go into the Merchant of Trinkets, though. we can go in caked up on money.
Do you want to put a Heartstone on Bounty Stalker? I'm not convinced. When's our next Merchant of Seal that we're actually visiting?
That is in the final area.
We're gonna struggle to fill this Pyre Stone. We did it for Big Sludge.
Honestly, if we've only done it for Big Sludge, that's more than enough right now, I think.
Yeah, I think you're right.
Now, double
removals.
I mean, that's just 2 shiny stewards at the moment, I still think.
Yes, absolutely.
Actually, is it 2 foregone powers?
Nah.
Have they... Okay, so foregone powers, have they ever contributed to the deck other than denying us a card in hand? Yeah?
Yeah, the Frost on a couple frontliners has been meaningful damage. I mean, like, better than a Frozen Lance as last card play.
Mm-hmm.
I probably would cut the Offering tokens before the foregone powers in this deck.
Really? The Offering tokens at the absolute least give me the ability to get... I mean, okay, this is part of my C25 thinking. I'm like, the Offering tokens at the very least I'll replace Deadweight occasionally, but there's only one.
Yeah, that's pretty true. That's a good point. The more Deadweight you have, the more some guided removal is.
Oh, Big Sludge is gonna get so big. You want to just pop a Paraffin Enforcer and Big Sludge behind it and just have the bottom floor rock?
I think that kind of is hilarious. Oh, but where are we putting the Bounty Stalker to make sure it dies all the time?
It has burnout. It goes anywhere.
Okay, and then we just let it burn out?
Yeah.
I'm fine with that.
Days 1 to all our units. I mean, we put this on this floor as well, so we can die on the top floor, I guess.
Okay. This has just been the wildest rules of containment ever. It's been so kind to us.
Mm-hmm. Thank you very much, game, for really supporting everything that we needed out of it.
Yeah.
Without a question as well, just very kind. We're going to start having drafts come into the deck as well as that Remnant Host. I don't know if we want to include Dregs into the cycle. Oh.
There's the draft, as promised. Yeah, I think we can be pretty focused on our reforms in this fight, right?
Mm-hmm.
Although... Okay, there's the Remnant Host. I was going to say, although we whiff on this turn. Dude, we're totally taking more pips. I really think we are.
Yeah, we are. Oh my god. Oh no. Teak, we're taking more pips, but also we need to repath. I think we might skip that Merchant of Trinkets.
What?
Teak. A floor with 2 large Big Sludges that both have quick and multi-strike, and then just 1 Remnant Host constantly reformed.
Okay, you're right. That is pretty obscene.
I think we might kill Seraph in like turn 4 or something with that.
It is objectively pretty good. This Remnant Host, you know what this Remnant Host needs? Oh my gosh. Endless.
Yep.
Burnout 1, endless. So it's always Burnout 1.
That's exactly what we're looking for.
That's the hunt. The hunt is on.
Hunter? Escape the dream.
Oh my gosh. I haven't played that in a minute. I never finished it.
Neither did I. As much as I talk about it being one of my favorite games.
I know, it's so embarrassing. It is one of my favorite games. It's one of the best I've played. Hey, we should Crushing Demise up top to maybe hit the Bounty Stalker.
Love it. Failed. It's mine.
We're
still dead at the end of that turn, and we get back. Hey, Bounty Stalker, what up? Honestly, at this point, I'm not really considering much of these turns anymore. Die.
Yeah, that's all we want is to maximize bounty stocking. That's all that matters.
Mm-hmm.
Everything else is gravy. It's a lot of Doraf.
It's significantly more than I thought I was going to end up with here.
Mm-hmm.
Oh my god, that Bounty Stalker constantly coming back here. It's like it's winning every like 2 out of 3, but it's also occasionally winning a 1 out of 6. It's just doing good work. Anything else?
Guess we have molded to hit it too, if we wanted.
Oh, this turn you mean?
Yeah, if we had whiffed on it, we can still mold it here just to clean up the pool too.
Yeah.
Although I don't know. Just put it in the deck, right?
Yep.
Yeah.
That's where that needs to be right now.
Crush you. GG.
GG.
You are late, Bounty Stalker.
These are all pretty late.
I can see a world where it's a Siren Song. Siren Song's not terrible, and with Seraph the Temperate, Siren Song is like, oops, Shade Wings made it to the top somehow, and now it's not hurting us instead of doing 20. But we also have 110 health. So I say that the Siren Song becomes more important when you don't have 110 health to just buffer those leaks. And we're not really struggling with frontliners because we do so much damage with the Sludges and the Bounty Stalker.
Agreed on all fronts.
On every front.
So
I love it. Yes, yes. Oh, I'm just
so glad.
I'm so in on this path. I think it's incredible.
Happily take that.
Kick on.
The giant sludge. There's the harvest. We finally found it. Now we're going to take the Dark Calling.
It's a little late. We could have taken it and it might have made some difference.
It could have made a slight difference, but the thing is, I feel like the pie chart that we're thinking about is going to be 100% sludges by the end of this run. Okay.
So scary.
Ooh, how scary is this? Is it possible this isn't scary even slightly? So the possibility of it not being scary even slightly is we set up no units except for the big sludge on the top floor. The Wilt Wings die before they get there because of the rules of containment.
Wait, how much health do they have?
3. They take 2 damage and then 1 damage.
No, because of Heaven Seal.
Oh, you're right. You're right. I wouldn't have caught that.
But we'll kill them with drafts and stuff. So I think it's okay. But the rules of containment has finally met its match, and it's Heaven Steel Wilt Wings.
We've got it. It's
incredible.
Fine.
Yeah. So are we gonna? What are we gonna do?
I mean, all of these could go bottom floor right now. Because I think we fund our own big sludges harvests ourselves.
I think so. I think you're right. Well, and they'll get some stuff too. As long as we're confident that we can protect Rector Flicker here, I'm okay with them there.
It's the 65 in the front line that makes me more confident about it.
Yeah. Okay. And Bounty Stalker is going to help us clean up Gilded Wings.
Oh, yo, no. The Paraffin Enforcer gets reformed occasionally, and that's fine. It's just a giant block.
Yeah. Yeah, you're right. You're right. That's the plays.
Is there a good reason to put the draft first or second here instead? First, because of the Wilt Wings.
Yeah.
Okay. And then we're doing the second floor of this. I mean, we could try and set up.
I think top floor sludge sounds pretty good, actually.
Okay.
Are we gonna do 1 sludge, 1 bounty? How much does the bounty do right now?
95. So it's not enough to kill on the midline by itself.
And the draft is at
60.
So if we did bounty, draft, and sludge mid lane right now, it kills the Gilded Wing. And then we would throw like a shiny steward up top.
Yeah, that's not bad.
That's really not bad, right? And that gets it scaling right away. And the Bounty Stalker will die, and the draft will die to make space for other big sludge. Bounty Stalker dies right away, so if we draw big sludge next turn, we could put the other in the mid lane.
We are going to draw big sludge next turn. It's the only banner unit remaining. If we had more banner units, maybe I would still set up on the top floor and then let the Bounty Stalker die this turn, because we do get it at the end of the turn for the Rector Flicker anyway. But this is totally fine.
Yeah.
So that in the front position, this is dying in 2 turns time, so that's an easy play as well. Yeah, I was worried about that.
That's a fair fear.
I think we discard it, play in the next cycle.
Yeah. Okay. I agree.
I'm sad about it.
I am too. I definitely am too. Are we engulfing anyone? Bot floor?
Yeah, we're going to be chumping the mid line 100% of the time right now because we haven't got the second one, so...
This lets us put Bounty Stalker mid lane again too, which is not bad.
Certainly not. I mean, any units that die with any natural occurrence on the top floor are fine to play there at the moment still.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, I guess just offering and pass out the turn.
We can drag in front of the draft mid-row. Does that matter? It matters not. I'm surprised you put Burnout 2 on the Bounty Stalker.
Yes. Honestly, I didn't really think about that as much as I thought about I just want to play Burnout on a unit, and everyone else Well, I mean,
fair.
It should have been the one unit that I didn't want to play it on, right? Oops.
I think it's okay. They'll die. They'll die next round. I don't think we'd ever crushing demise there.
That top floor already dies, and then... Wait, we don't need positions on this top floor for anything. We just kill units here.
Yeah, this is a kill floor.
I was thinking that we were about to set something up there for some reason.
Nah, I think we've basically solved these waves. I think we've kind of done it.
Mm-hmm.
The fact that some of the row order changing gets weird, for sure.
I really don't want to draw the big sludge this turn to the point that maybe I don't play the offering token.
Just play some foregone powers.
Okay, then we have the one capacity unit left on that middle floor. We do get the big sludge back. This one goes in front. Bounty. I mean, just put that on the bottom in front as well.
Yeah, I think so. Let it get that scale. Crystal.
I really wish I could just put the Remnant Host on that floor.
I know. I agree. Because those light wings are trying to be annoying, but they'll die up top.
Mm-hmm.
Are we crushing demise anywhere? We can crushing demise up top. Doesn't matter.
We could do. I think it's just like engulfed in smoke and then pass and just wait for the midline to kill.
Yeah.
Okay, we do get extra energy out of that. I mean, a draft here is like 140 right now.
Yeah.
Significant enough, I think.
Ooh, and this lets us foregone power the boss too, and that's matters.
Could do. Especially if we end up playing more foregone powers. Okay, yeah. That's an easy kill, and then there's
bada boom.
No way that we could reform and then kill the Bounty Stalker.
These big sludge, they know what they're about.
They're so good.
Oh, man. Okay, so I sold you hard on Sacrificial Resurrection last time, and I think it's very good. We also took no draw this time, and we have an abundance of drafts, and we don't really care about cleaning our deck up because we basically don't care about draw at all. We just play out units and reform them, which actually makes me wonder about this Wicked Blaze. Having one more reform card in the deck makes it even easier for us to let units die with Wicked Abandon.
I also don't think its energy cost matters at all, so consider as though this has 0 energy.
Yeah, right? And then that makes that a nice pick.
I wasn't entertaining anything on that because I'm guaranteed. I am certain
the Titus Tooth was actually possible, but I don't.
Really? Oh, I mean, we do have the 2 offering tokens still left in the deck. It's just...
And 3 foregone powers, right? We're covered up in discard effects, but like, what is it doing for us?
Yeah.
It's getting us kills. Our units are so good at that already.
Thank you. Oh, God.
It's your plan. Your plan is live.
Yep. The goal literally right now is just remove every other card from the deck. Like, there is nothing that is going to be stronger than those 2 big sludges, as well as the Remnant Host just dying on that floor every turn.
There's one thing in the deck which is parallel to that strength, and you keep overlooking it, but it's the Bounty Stalker. That unit's way stronger than you're giving it credit for, my man. That unit's big, and it needs a reroll. It just wants one more upgrade.
So I do like... I want to get out ahead of this, because I do like and have utilized Bounty Stalker a lot, but the reason that I find it so difficult to utilize is because I end up using it as effectively a giant damage spell, or... I have the Extinguish 2 times as well as Intent on Deaths in the deck, and I'm starting to just build it up in a backline.
And then you just win with it as your glass cannon, for sure.
I find that a lot of the time, the mental overhead that has to be run in order to decide at what point this becomes a killing unit versus a unit that we're growing makes it harder for me to take units like that. And sometimes
that's pretty fair.
I'll just avoid them for that reason.
That's pretty fair. I think that may be exactly what draws me to it, right? Is I like that kind of microing, but you're definitely not wrong. If you give it multi-strike, it's even more wicked.
Okay. Let's do that.
Would you want to put a... Well, let's look at what's in the trinket store, I guess.
Yeah.
Might as well. Cuddlebeard, dude. Only Frost.
I mean, it's legitimately valuable.
We need it. This combustible wax is actually pretty legit.
I mean, like, Bounty Stalker doesn't need to die anymore. We don't scale it anymore. It's just we want to kill with it now.
We want it to stay alive. So we can take combustible wax and then also give it burnout +2. Or burnout +1 in the store. There's another burnout +1 for it.
Yep.
Yeah.
Alright. As for the removals, though.
Steward out.
Steward out 100% of the time. I think... I legitimately think I want to remove as many cards as possible from this deck. And, like, offering, foregone on my first 5.
I would cut... So, I know this is going to sound crazy, but I would cut Helical before all of the foregons. Because we do have Cuddlebeard. And so it's actually a substantial amount of Frost for boss. Remember, it never takes down. So if we get 30 Frost on the boss, that's just 30 damage every round, right?
I don't think there are going to be more than 2 rounds.
Okay, that's pretty fair. That's pretty fair. Sure. That's copacetic.
That said, we already took the relevant card out of the deck, the Helical Crystallis. Foregone. There's nothing I'm missing at this point. We've already visited the trinkets. We've got the best trinkets out of the... Okay, yeah, cool. Final foregone.
By the
plus 20 for the...
Boom.
I mean, we could just Wickstone on the Paraffin. Or Wickstone on the Remnant Host, make it able to tank 2 attacks. Oh, no,
so
wait,
something
tank 2 attacks.
Something that's weird about the combustible wax here is that Remnant Host has burnout 4 now.
It needs to die in the front
It's going to die. It's going to go to the front and it's going to die. So it's no big deal.
Come on, double.
What is your plan? How aggressively can we win this fight?
I think we can win before the Seraph actually comes into the fight. I think that's not difficult for us to do.
Does it involve playing a Bounty Stalker up on the top to damage it on turn 1?
It easily could.
Or wait, I have an idea. Okay, it's drag top, crushing demise.
You don't have to have the drag there in order to kill.
Oh, you can do this again. That's right.
Yeah.
Okay. So there was a brief period where this was turned off, where crushing demise would only work by targeting your own unit, and I have to be reminded of this almost every single time. My brain cannot undo that learning.
Yep, I have had the same anchoring with so many cards. In fact, we'll talk about a couple of them over the course of this. That Lightwings already does die, though, to the rules of containment of the Cuddlebeard.
I just want to hit the Seraph with this Bounty Stalker on turn 1.
I mean, yeah, we can totally do that. The big sludge I still want to get down on the bottom line. Okay. I may just sack a drag in front of it just for the sake of... Cool. So, 1, 2...
Where is Rector Flicker going to live?
Rector's got to go mid. There's no other place for it.
Okay. Live your best life, Rector.
Perfect. Big sludge. Paraffin goes in the mid for the protection, and then we just engulfed in smoke on the bottom line.
Which is good that we had, because otherwise those sludge were dying. I guess we would just reform them, but it's a little awk.
I mean, we wouldn't have played them so low if we didn't have ways to protect them, right?
Sure.
And that, is manifest somewhat through chump blockers, but also, I mean, we're going to get the Remnant Host next turn.
The host,
we're solved.
It'll make a huge difference. Yep.
Don't necessarily love having that unit die right there, though.
We can Wicklash it so that it comes back better. No, we're just going to jump for it, right?
Jump for it 2 times? Get a drag out as well? I mean, they're all dying on the mid floor anyway, so...
Yeah. Do we Wicklash it anyway? So that it can sit there and scale? It gets 5 burnout when we play this Wicklash.
Yeah.
That Paraffin Enforcer will be alive for the rest of the fight with that Wicklash.
Let's do that.
It's kind of cool.
The combustible waxy is so huge, especially early on. You can like build a run that is entirely, have every burnout effect. I don't care.
It changes the class. Like, it fundamentally changes the class.
This mid line's getting weirder.
It is. We need more blocks. Drag it up. That Drake takes a couple hits, but yeah. Temperate. Shadewings. Shadewings so scary.
We're going to leak some damage here, but it's going to be fine. This floor's taking off in a second.
Mm-hmm.
God, no kills are happening on this floor except for the Remnant Host at the moment, which is why this is taking so long to get out.
The Shadewings. I think that, looking back on it, and I think we'll be fine anyway, but I think these big sludges were actually a mid or top row.
Yeah.
Because of the problem with having Gildeds and Harvest Wings up front. We just can't cut through it. And if we go mid or top, they're always dying to the Frost, right?
Just block with it, Paraffin, and get some damage out.
Oh, nice.
That'll kill all of them.
Everybody is dead. How do we protect this? Our Reformer.
We just get a bunch of units to jump with.
Yeah, and they're getting so big now, too, from all the reforms.
Yep. You don't even really need anything more at this point.
Plenty large. Grow bot lane.
Oh, perfect. Okay, we're fine again.
Look at that bounty stalker up top, just crushing lads. What a strong unit.
A very, very lovely friend. Doing some serious work.
Did it finally run out of turns?
Nice. I mean, that restores 5 health. So literally Frost, the Foregone is on that floor already, a kill for us.
Yeah. Where did our bounty stalker go? Well, we'll reform it.
It'll come back eventually.
It'll be back to us. If we had a space prism, we could play it on the bottom row with our sludge.
If only we could get more capacity gems at this point.
Just go all in on one row.
I mean, that is very much my preferred way of playing.
If we had, if our secondary clan, were Hellborn, or Hellhorned rather. I always call them Hellborn. Hellhorned or Awoken, so that we could ascend and descend more easily.
That's
Overstack City.
That was the biggest thing. In the first 2 rounds, I did not find a drip fall, and I really desperately wanted one.
Yeah, drip fall is so good. Yeah.
Well, we have already won here. So.
Yes. It is over.
More smoke.
Our unit comp is so strong, we would kill this Seraph multiple times with our unit setup right now.
Yes. I'm very glad that we chose one of them to go heavily in on and just use the other ones as support features for it. Because I can totally see this run being one that has so many good things that it loses.
Yeah. We were like, Big Sludge is going to be our boss scaling. We always think about where to put that to support it for boss scaling. Every other unit is a big spell.
Yeah.
And we take pips so we can play more spells. And I think that that's a pretty fair way to play Melting Remnant for quite a long time, actually, is think of your units as spells and consider the game that way.
As you get
it's
with
such
the
a fun
Seraph,
class.
I think the Seraph's extra 1,000 HP. If it affects any clan the most, it affects Melting Remnant the most.
It's true.
It's because it.
They live right on the borderline. They really do. They're very good at getting to doing hundreds or 1,000 or 2,000 damage, but sometimes that extra couple thousand is just they just have trouble with managing burnout to do it.
I mean, that has become easier with the normal set of burnout cards having increased timers on them now, and I really do want to run a run where I have Rectiflicker with the Burn Bright attachment to it and actually get just early copies of Wicklash, early copies of the potion that I can't remember the name of at the moment that gives +5 burnout to everyone that has burnout on the floor.
Yeah,
I know what you're talking about.
Strongest potion.
You get ahead of my potions.
Let's make sure that we get the run summary challenge name here as well. At the end of each of my runs, kind of a little bit inspired by how the ladder streak has been running, I've been trying to find ways to have a setup. Like sometimes it's like a 10-minute setup, right? Of just setting up all of the pieces for it. But to where the either punchline of a joke or some significant ending part of it will be the 3 words in the title in a grammatically correct order.
But what are you going to do with LoggingAsianBennett?
It is really hard, right? Like,
yep.
What are you going to do with that? Especially when it puts nationalities in a lot of the time or names in. I'm like, that becomes a little bit harder.
Yeah. Do you think that this is are we logging something like a log line in a file? Are we logging the activities of AsianBennett? Or is Bennett like a logger?
Oh, I see. Kind of like a lumberjacksman kind of situation.
Yeah.
I could see that. I tend to like read it as these are the printouts of like an admin kind of like account for a university. And at 5:32 p.m., AsianBennett logged in. That would very much be like a community kind of thing. Like the dean has gone, but we have 2 Bennetts. One of them's Asian. Like kind of like a Fat Neil kind of situation for the community as well.
Oh,
man. It's definitely not one that I would have created the archetype for.
Nope. Hey, Rhapsody.
Yo, what's up, Tig?
It's another week in the bag, dog.
Hell yeah, it is.
You feel good about that?
I feel damn good about it. You kidding me? This is the capstone to my week. This is the end of my work for this week.
Yeah. Do you have anything coming up next week? Maybe like any kind of digital entertainment that you're looking forward to?
Well, I am finishing up my rewatch of Community. It's the 3rd one I've done in lockdown, so that's a digital entertainment that I'm looking forward to.
That's good. That's self-care.
There's the release of Vault of the Void into early access that happened earlier this morning as a press time.
Yes. That game is so hype. I really enjoyed it when I played it.
I am so glad. I already expressed this to you off camera, but it's something that I was very, 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 very certain that you would enjoy, but also hopeful that you would enjoy, because I don't really get to express talking about it with that many people, despite the fact that the Wholesomeverse has jumped on it in full force.
Yeah, I need to play more. It's on the long list of now 7 stream games. I'm going to need to cut some. Because realistically, every game is just in competition with Spelunky 2 right now. I'm like trying to stream extra hours of the day with no camera on, so I can play more Spelunky.
Yeah,
I've gotta practice.
There are definitely those times around releases that it's like, more hours in the day, please. I just want to focus heavily on this.
This fall and winter season has just been release city of incredible games and 1.0s. I mean, it's just a lot.
It is
over the last couple months.
It is such a weird and privileged position to be in, to say there are too many games that people have given me for free that are very quality, and I don't have time to play all of them.
Can y'all please slow down with all the great games? And there's a bunch of stuff that I haven't even gotten to try out yet, like Disc Room, which looks very fun, very snackable game that I would like to try out.
It's an exciting
just not
one.
even gotten on there.
Harkening back though for a second to the discussion of Vault of the Void, that's actually something that I did want to say in wrap up to this run, is that in Vault of the Void, and actually I will also tie STS into this. So Vault of the Void has the Daughter of the Void character, the 3rd character. She has a deck that is based around Soul Tithe, which is based around managing this resource that gives you value, however also harms you to have. And you want to manage it up and you want to manage it down, and obviously you've got like a lot of work that you want to do in the outsides around that. And I found I had an episode recently that was 2 hours long, and the first one was a 40-minute run, and it died. And the entire time I was saying, I don't understand. I just don't understand this character. I don't know what I'm doing. And then the second run, about 20 minutes in, a light bulb went off, and I was like,
and it just clicked.
I get it now. I know when to transition, I know when to turn and burn, and I know what I was missing. I wasn't thinking of it through the lens of like, these are turns that you need to think of a couple turns ahead. And then as soon as I was thinking of it in that, I was like, wait a second, This is like it's not The Watcher, obviously. It's not the same character.
Right.
These are different in broad ways.
Right,
And they don't tend to imply a similarity, but it is the same kind of like
puzzly combat.
Puzzly combat,
Planning.
but also that you definitely have to think a couple turns ahead, otherwise you will leave yourself out on a limb. Like, oftentimes, as the Soul Tithe, Daughter of the Void, I find myself in a position where, like, I will kill this turn, but next turn I would have taken 150 damage.
Right. Wow. Yeah.
And that is
That's
oftentimes
cool.
the situation I end up with the Watcher, where like I'm jumping in and out of Wrath, or I'm jumping in and out of those kinds of different stances. And I also think that might be something that I need to think about more with respect to burnout versions of, or burnout heavy, reform heavy versions of Melting Remnant decks. What is the turn that I need to peak on? I need to be planning for that the entire time.
Yeah. That's a really clever way to put it, I think, because I think that's very well captured. The fundamental difference, or the fundamental kind of inflection point in your fight, is going from I am in churn wave mode to I am in like barrier up and settle in mode to get ready for the boss, right? Now these units are done reforming. It's time to get them to their final place and like set them up and stand them up. And sometimes you get to do that a couple times with enough reform. You know, sometimes you have fights to where you get to have your units fight the boss 3 times in a row, and that's really fun.
Yeah, that happens a lot when you get to the exiled versions of your deck. So you have the primitive molds in the base deck, and you just constantly bring them back. Also, obviously, you don't have to worry about the dregs because they're not there.
Yes.
But as for digital media that I'm looking forward to, I don't know. Actually, I'm gonna probably rewatch again Auntie Donna's Big House of Fun. Have you heard of it?
No. What's this?
Okay, so Auntie Donna are a Australian sketch improv-ish kind of theater group. But they're heavily comedy based. They are a comedy group. They are theater actors who went into comedy after the fact, rather, though. So it is a perfect piece of Australiana comedy for America. And they made it with all of the kind of like trappings of American sitcoms and stuff like that, but made no concessions to the American audience. There are a lot of times that I'm like, there is no way an American is going to understand how Broden is speaking right now without subtitles. It's impossible.
That sounds amazing.
I would recommend it. 6 episodes on Netflix. They are so good. I've been a big fan of them for huge amounts of time. It's wild to see them get a Netflix show, especially because it was produced by Scott Aukerman and Paul F. Tompkins is in it. So it's worlds collide for me.
You send that my way. I'll work it in just for the worldliness of it. I'm just reading a webtoon right now, so I've got space. I say just. I mean, it's not like we have too much time on our hands, but you can make it when you want to. You can always make time when you want to.
You definitely can. There's always edges around the border to work in. But you have to make time away from what in order to read that webtoon?
Streaming.
Huh.
My career.
So you're streaming consistently, you say? 6 days a week, you say? 6
days a week.
Between the hours of which and which? I forgot because it's not my time zone.
Between the hours of 7 p.m. and question mark Central, I say. Other than Fridays, where I'm off, and Sundays, where I go live at noon.
And you're doing that over at
and maybe even more. Maybe even more coming up as I do more practice runs for Spelunky. But notably, next week is some holidays, so I will have a couple days off, and then some more. November and December gets weird. I do try to make it a point to take a few days off in November and December to spend with Bev and with family.
I find it really difficult to do that specifically for YouTube because there is a financial incentive not to, because the end of the year is when the majority of ad spend happens. But also, it's possible I don't have to worry about that this year, so who knows?
Yeah, that's a good point. But hey, you can, you can maybe queue up a few more videos in anticipation, which I cannot do with live stream.
That is the big benefit, right? I can just have like a 1 week of crunch. Maybe don't do streams that week, but like have a 1 week of crunch and then just be fine for the weekends, for the holidays. Right?
Yeah. I got to get on that. That sounds joyous.
It's nice. Alexa actually recently posted something that was along the lines of, there is no better feeling as a YouTuber than getting like 14 videos up and ready and scheduled and everything about them is perfect and you just get to sit and watch them go out.
Just throwing out those clay pigeons. Yep, it's nice.
But if people were looking for that stream that you're doing 6 days a week, would they find it possibly at twitch.tv/sneakyteak?
They might.
Huh. They may happen to do. That'll be linked in the description down below, just in case anyone happens to be looking for it at that time. And I would recommend that you do, even if it's offline due to any upcoming holidays. You can still go there and drop a follow or a sub.
And the VODs are there.
There are the VODs there as well.
It's like little YouTube. It's time limited, expiration date existing, expiring.
I would actually also say that at this point, I should probably mention, and in fact, we should probably both mention, the Balor co-op. I probably just end up putting a link to the highlight for that in the description down below.
Oh, that was a great run. That's worth it.
Super long silent run, very, very intricate, and also if you know anything about Teak's playstyle for the silent, and I imagine you do, or anything about the updates recently to Slay the Spire, and it's possible that you do in that front, this is a great adjoinder of those two. Very, very interesting run.
Thanks for that plug, boss.
No problem whatsoever. But for the moment, my name's been Rhapsody. His name's been Sneaky Teak. This has been Ladder Streak for another week. Hopefully you've been enjoying yourselves, and hopefully we'll see you next time.
Cheers.